If you're feeling stuck, overwhelmed, or frustrated, then this episode is for you. It's all about getting real with yourself.
This is the Enjoy Life podcast, here to help you choose your mindset, goals, and actions so that you can guide your life in the direction that you want it to go and enjoy it. It does take a little bit of work, some effort on your part, but that effort is worth it because this is your life and you can experience the benefits of the work that you do. And this podcast is here to help. Life doesn't magically turn out exactly how you want. It's up to you to make it happen. Now, you may not have chosen to be exactly where you're at right now in your current situation, but you will choose what you do about it. If you're ready to put forth a little bit of effort, take some small steps toward living the life that you want, then you're in the right place. Let's get started.
Hello, welcome to episode 136, Enjoy Life. Glad that you're here and joining in. Like we mentioned in the very beginning, this is about getting real with ourselves and how that can help us, when we are feeling stuck or overwhelmed, frustrated. So much value in just taking the time and being a little intentional and really getting real with ourselves on some very specific things. I think this will be very helpful. It's something that I got to do with myself all the time, just kind of give myself a check so I can get back on track, making progress, and feel good about what I'm doing too. It's a huge boost. Real quick, before we dive into today's episode, just a reminder, you can always go to nickmazy.com for more material, old podcast episodes. Look on any topic related to goals, mindset, or action, and you should find some good stuff there. At least I think it's good. And also, if you get any value, if you enjoy these podcast episodes at all, please go to Apple Podcasts and rate and review this podcast. Or just share it with somebody. Just send them to nickmazy.com or tell them to search Enjoy Life Nick Mazy so they can get some value out of it too. Well, thank you so much for doing that and sharing this podcast. I really appreciate it. All right, on to today's topic. Like I said, today we're talking about getting real with ourselves. For you to get real with yourself. So if you want to make any progress and enjoy life, then you got to get real with yourself. It's freeing. It's just kind of liberating when you really get crystal clear about certain things specific to you, as well as it's empowering. It can help you to like I said, make the progress. To help you to guide your life to go where you want it to go. It gives you that power to do that because it gives you some clarity, and also it feels good. It's not always fun in the moment. Sometimes we're getting real with ourselves and getting clear on some things and being a little bit honest and genuine. Sometimes it's difficult. Sometimes it doesn't really feel too good in the moment. But once you get past it, once you kind of do a little bit of the work, and it's a little freeing, and it's a little empowering, that's when the rewards really come out. It's after you do the work. It's kind of like exercise. It doesn't always feel good in the moment. In fact, sometimes the next day it's a little bit sore and hurts a little bit too. But over time, the benefits of doing that good work, they come out, and that's what ends up feeling good. When I get off my exercise routine, and getting back on, it's kind of tough. It kind of hurts. It kind of sucks a little bit. But I know I need to do it because I know with 100% certainty that when I do stick to an exercise routine, I feel better than when I don't. Sometimes that transition, sometimes getting back into it and doing the work's tough. But once you're in the habit of doing it, man, it feels so much better. And that's the same thing as what we're about to talk about right here, is that sometimes it's not as fun to do this work. But I promise you, once you do it and once you get into the habit of doing it even, it gets easier, it gets better, and you get to experience the rewards so fast. And it's great. It's great. So enough of me talking about it. Let's just dive into it, right? All right, so there's 3 questions that I want you to answer, and then I'm going to give you 1 tip to help. All right, pretty simple, pretty straightforward. The first question is what do you want? What do you want? See, and this isn't what other people want or what they think that you should want, or what they tell you that you should want, or what you think other people should think that you want. Whatever. It's none of that stuff. It's what do you really want? Getting clear on your desires and what you want, it is so valuable. And what you want might not be exactly what everybody thinks you should want. And that's okay. That's okay. But just kind of getting real with what you want, it can help you to set those goals. It can help you get real with what those goals should be. This isn't a whole goal setting episode. In fact, if you want some more information on that, just go to nickmazy.com. I got resources on goal setting. Check it out. There's too much to put in one episode. But this is just getting clear. Take a moment to get clear on what you want. And the next question is right in line with that. Now it's time for you to get clear on what are your priorities. Because just because you want something doesn't mean that it's a priority. There's plenty of things that I want that are not in line with my priorities. They're not. And that's okay. That's where this kind of freeing part comes up, because it's okay if I want some things and I get clear on what I want, but I get clear also that those are not my priorities, then I don't feel as though I'm missing out on anything, because I'm choosing what my priorities are. You choose what your priorities are. If your priorities are not in line with that desire of yours, then that's okay. It's just a good acknowledgement that, hey, I'm probably not going to be pursuing buying a yacht because that's not in line with me providing for my family right now. Because if providing for your family is a priority, I know I bring that up sometimes in my episodes, because that's one of my priorities. I have to get real with myself, and when I remind myself of those priorities, all of a sudden my wants and desires that I might not be pursuing, I'm so much more okay with not pursuing them because I'm taking care of my priorities. And that's what I want for you. And that's somewhere where the really enjoying life comes up, is because it's easy for me, and it's easier to enjoy life if you know that you're focusing on what's really important to you. Then all the other stuff that you might not have is okay, because you're doing what's important. You're doing your priorities. Now, the third question. So you've asked and answered, what do you want? You've asked and answered, what are your priorities? And now the last one is, what are you willing to do? What are you willing to do? This is so important, because if you're not willing to do a lot of stuff, a lot of hard work, if you're not willing to do something different, then don't expect that better, different result. And this goes back to, if you want something different, you got to do something different. If you're not willing to do that, if you're not willing to do that work, then don't expect the result. This is also kind of freeing, in my opinion, because if I acknowledge the fact that this would be a nice thing for me to have, it might even be related to one of my priorities, it might not be necessary. But if I'm not willing to do the work for it, then I'm off the hook for doing the work if the results are not important enough for me to pursue. But if the results are that important, then you have to do the work. It's like I mentioned earlier, one of my priorities is providing for my family. Well, having a really nice vacation home, that would be awesome. That could be on my desires. That could be something that I want. And it's kind of related to one of my priorities, because that'd be great for the family. But I don't think right now it makes sense for me to do the things necessary in order to get it. Right now, my attention is on other things for my priorities. So realizing that my actions are my choice, I'm choosing my actions, it kind of makes me feel a little bit better that I'm not missing out on having something like an extra vacation home. That's okay for me, because I realize that I've chosen what my desires, I've gotten clear on my priorities, and I've gotten clear on what I'm willing to do in order to serve those best. So if you're feeling a little stuck, overwhelmed, or frustrated, try to get really clear on what you want, what are your priorities, and what you're willing to do. And then the last one this is the tip to help. I think it makes all these so much better. So if you answer these questions and you're being just honest and genuine with yourself, be okay with your answers. Be okay with your answers. It's a lot better than deceiving yourself or trying to, put on a facade that something else is different. No, you know what you want, you know what your priorities are, and you know what you're willing to do. That is excellent. That is awesome. That is amazing. Give yourself credit, a pat on the back for doing this. A lot of people don't really get clear on these things for themselves, and that's when they're lost. But not you. Not you. See, now you know that if you get clear on what you want, what your priorities are, and what you're willing to do, then all of a sudden you got a good place to start from. Then hey, I might want that, but it's not in line with my priorities. Or I might want that, but I really don't want to do the work to get there. That's okay. Then you're not missing out on anything, because you're still serving yourself best, because you're making the choice of what you're willing to do. Having full knowledge that you got to do the work to get the result, If that result's not important enough to you or not meaningful or big enough to you, then don't do the work. And that's okay. Be okay with your answers. Just be honest and genuine with yourself. Look, I know that getting real with yourself is not always fun. It's not always fun to do the work, to get clear on these things. But it's worth it. I promise you, it's worth the effort, the benefits that you get from getting clear on you and what you want. It is so worth it. It'll help you to make the progress that you want, at least to make the progress in the direction that you want, making sure that your life is on track with where you want it to go so that you can do the work to make it happen. And that's so you can enjoy it too. Because you can even enjoy the journey when you're clear on what you're doing, and where you're going. Well, that's it for today's episode. Thank you so much for listening. I really hope you enjoyed that episode and got some value out of it. If you did enjoy it, please rate and review this podcast, either on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. It will really help more people find it. There's so many podcasts out there these days that I really rely on you to share this material so that more people can find it. You can always just share it with a friend. You can send them to nickmazey.com, or like I said, rate and review this podcast. Any of those is a huge help, a huge benefit, and I sincerely appreciate it. And also, I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to connect with you. You can find me on Instagram, just at Nick Mazey. Send me a message. Tell me anything that you like or how I can improve, or just information you'd like to hear about on this podcast or through any of my material. And as always, you can go to nickmazey.com for more resources and topics just related to helping you guide your life to go in the direction that you want it to go and enjoy it.